Hey everyone, welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be looking at the Leetgion Hellion mouse. Alright, and this is the Hellion mouse. Now, the design. That's what I'm going to start off with because that's the first thing you see, and the thing I've got most comments about since the unboxing video. Well, basically, you either love it or you hate it. So that's how simple it is. I just don't want to judge it too much on the looks, although of course it's one of the things you have to look at when reviewing a mouse. But yeah, I actually quite like it. It's not sleek, no, it's not sleek, but it has a very sturdy look, different look, a little bit futuristic perhaps too. But yeah, I don't dislike it that much. I really like it, as well as I actually like using this mouse. It's also more comfortable than it looks. You know, the edges are never on a spot where your hand actually rests. It's shaped very comfortable, in a very comfortable way. The only issue that some people might have is that if you're used to just using a mouse with 2 fingers here on the top instead of using 3 fingers on the top, which some people are, you might have trouble, and I'm going to try to film this in a decent manner. You might have trouble with these 2 fingers because this edge would annoy you there. So you basically have to make sure that you're someone who can easily use a mouse like this with these fingers on top all the time, or at least most of the time. And yeah, be sure you're one of the people who actually games like that easily. For me, I can actually do both, so I didn't really have that much trouble with it. But one of the other things that gives away that you have to hold this mouse like that is that these forward and backward browsing buttons are here and here. And if you're just using 2 fingers, they're quite far apart. So yeah, 3 fingers is advised. Now, basically, what this mouse is designed for is RTS games, and more specifically StarCraft II. I think this mouse is rather perfect for those games because you have quite a few options with this mouse. Now I'm gonna go over the buttons and then the specifications, like, you know, the DPI and all that stuff, and then the software. Just saying this so you know what the entire layout of the review will be. Now basically you have a left and right mouse button, scroll wheel with a button function, this is the backward, and then that's a forward browsing button, and then you have an attack button, which is actually a Cherry MX Blue key, like the ones that they use on keyboards. So basically it actually functions when you hear the click. Alright, now this button is a little bit flimsier. I don't really know how to actually say it. It's loose, it feels a little cheap. This is the only thing on the entire mouse that does feel a little cheap, although it is the one thing that is really making it, well, you know, setting it apart from many other mice out there. So what I did actually with this button, because you can actually program all the buttons, is program it, because I'm actually more of a first-person shooter gamer, when I'm playing a Steam game, to go to my Steam home overlay, you know, where you can chat with everyone in game. So yeah, I did that because then you can just quickly look at what time it is and all that stuff. It's quite useful, but you can of course set it for practically anything because you can make macros and all that stuff. But I'll go further into that a little bit later in the review. Now we have here on the bottom a wheel, and this wheel actually allows you to choose between different profiles. So you have the default profile, which has, you know, all the default settings. Mostly they're very good for using this mouse for browsing. Then you have the Terran, the Zerg, Protoss profiles, and these are some preset profiles which you can also still change a little. And then you have a custom profile which you can make yourself entirely. But yeah, those are the profiles, and I'll also go further into that during the software part. Now on the bottom you have two more buttons. These are for DPI, so these two here, these are for DPI, and then there are some feet here, and the mouse actually slides very well with these, so actually sliding it around goes very easily on a good mouse mat. Oh, and also note that extra feet for the mouse are included. Alright, and there's actually still a few things you should have a look at before I go into the specifications deeper. There are LEDs in the Leetgion logo, in the Hellion logo, and in the white strip here in the back. So if I power the mouse on, and I'm actually gonna do this right now so you guys can see it. Alright, so this now powered on, as you can see, and there's LEDs here in the side, in the top, the logo, and actually the paint actually makes the logo look really nice there. The paint is very nicely done. It's not very strong though. I've seen people having trouble with it coming off easily, so I'm not really sure if that was the mouse itself for those people. At least I didn't have the problem here now. But yeah, this stuff looks really nice here. And basically, if you go through the profiles, you'll get other colors. So this is yellow. It's not really showing up nicely on my camera apparently. This is rather greenish, yellowish for the Protoss profile. If you go through the Zerg, purple, Terran, blue, and default is on red currently. Now if you change the LED color, which you can do, unfortunately, and I found this unfortunately, is that only the tail light will change color, not the other bits. So I think that they should have at least made sure that the other parts also change color, because you can't really make nice combinations with most of these colors. And if you're using custom, you'll have to use the light blue color here to make a combination. So they should have actually made sure that it's not only the taillight that can be changed, but also the other LEDs. And then finally, very finally, the cable is braided, so as you can see, very nice cable. It actually also has a Velcro to, you know, do some cable management. And the USB connector is gold plated. Alright, now so what can we tell about the mouse? Well, it has an Avago 9500 laser. The keys under the left and right mouse button are Omron micro switches, which are made in Japan, for those who want to know. Yeah, I said that the attack button is in MX Cherry Blue, well, Cherry MX Blue, and actually that's basically it. And the DPI on the sensor, by the way, goes up to 5,000, so that's actually quite a lot. And if you go to the software, which you will in a second, you'll see that you can actually change the DPI settings, you know, and change DPI steps and all that stuff. Also, the mouse itself doesn't weigh that much, so that's also sometimes might need to take some getting used to. The mouse weighs about 105 grams, that's without the cable. So yeah, if you're used to heavy mice, this one isn't really that heavy, so that might need some getting used to. And oh yeah, something that might interest some people is that the lift-off distance isn't that high. So actually, you can lift off the mouse, you don't have to go that high, move it, and keep, you know, moving your cursor or aiming, whatever you do. So that's quite useful. Alright, and this is a little software tool which you can download on their website. It's not included in the box with the other stuff, but yeah, this is downloadable on the Leetgion website. Now, as you can see, you have a button assignment page here, and basically what you can do here is program every button. So like for example the attack button number 4, which I made the home button, I call it the home button. You can actually choose any option, and for example what I did is I made a macro, and well, then I chose the macro which I made, which was home button. And how to make a macro, I'll show you guys that in a second. But what can I also do? I can make it use, you know, be page backward, page forward, fire button, and then, you know, yeah, some couple of options there. So yeah, in the default profile, it is actually my computer. So if I go to the default profile, I'm actually gonna do that now. I open it, and there you go, my computer. So, you know that it actually has some useful features, and as you can see, if I go through the profiles on the mouse itself, it actually the software actually goes together with the mouse, so that's quite interesting. Now, mostly I just use custom 5 because that's interesting. I can test that profile, change whatever I want. But yeah, you can also make a new profile apparently, and give it a name, but I'm not sure. I think it's just gonna replace custom 5. And then adjust performance. What you can do here is change the DPI. Currently my DPI is actually on 5000, that's the maximum. I like high DPI and low sensitivity, so you actually have a very accurate control over your aiming. But you have the steps of 3200, 2400, 2000, 1600, 800, and 100. And you can change the X and Y axis as well. You can enable or disable the separate setting of that. The polling rate, you can change that. The scroll speed and the pointer speed, you can change that. Also, the double click speed is changeable. Now, then macro management. So, if I want to make a new macro, like, you know, the one that I did, very simple. I call it, for example, the end button. Let's call it end button. Not that I usually need it, but let's call it end button. Create macro entry, record, end, stop, and that's it. So you have your new macro. Is that difficult to do? No, you can do lots of things with this. This is actually quite useful for games, for RTS games, for example, too. So yeah, you can see that you can make macros, and you have a few options here as well, like record delay. You can make a loop. You can insert a delay in a couple of milliseconds. So yeah, that's quite useful. And finally, there's the light management, as you can see, because currently I have dark blue in the tail light and light blue in the normal light. So we're gonna change the tail light just to show you guys. You can actually choose any color you want. There are 16.7 million options with that apparently. Although if you have a good look at the LED at the tail light, you can see that the LED color is actually combined by using different colors, different LEDs, and it's not always that nice to see, because you can see I think it was with yellow, for example. So this is really an ugly color in my opinion for this mouse, but anyway, we're gonna apply. Alright, you can see that there's really just different colors being used, and damn, on the camera it doesn't really show nicely, but yeah, you see more like greenish, bluish, reddish colors, and well, in general it looks like yellow, but if you look at it closely it kind of looks ugly. But yeah, that's just me, that's my opinion. It's just a little detail and not really something that you're gonna be annoyed by. But yeah, you have lots of options like purple. You know, that looks a little different too. Let it load. There we go. So yeah, lots of options there, and that's basically the software. Alright, so as a conclusion about this mouse. Now, the actual price, I'm going to start with this, of the mouse is 65 euros. And I think that is a price that I might pay for this mouse. Now, why would I pay this for this mouse? Now, first of all, it's got good build quality actually. It's got very good software, it's got very user-friendly software, because you don't always get that with mice or other peripherals. It's software that has a lot of bugs, and with this software I didn't see any bugs. Everything worked like it should. So yeah, good and user-friendly software that works like it should. Other than that, it's actually got a nice design in my opinion. You either like it or you hate it, as I said. I like it. I don't love it though, but I like it. I would use this mouse daily. I would not like throw it away because I don't like it, because I do like it. So yeah, that's probably a personal choice. But if you do like it, seriously consider this mouse, because also the entire, design, the cable is braided, anti-tangling features. You got the gold-plated USB connection here. Yeah, you got the nice profile switch here. Everything is actually very uniquely designed. I even have a little bit of aluminum on the side here, as I didn't really show that closely, but yeah, design is very nice, very sturdy, except for one thing. One thing that I did kind of feel, or even a friend of mine who just came in today and just tested the mouse himself, he plays a lot of RTS games too, and the thing he said was this button, the attack button. It's a cool feature, but it kind of, for him, kind of destroyed the looks of the mouse. He likes some more symmetrical mice, apparently. I don't think it destroys the look, but it did say what I also think, is that the button is a little bit flimsy, it's a little loose, it feels a little bit cheap, and I think that using a button, which is actually made for keyboards, so the Cherry MX Blue key that's in here, is not really supposed to be on a mouse. It's a nice ID. It's also quite a logical ID, I think, but a normal mouse button, an on-run switch for example, would have been perfect. I don't think that actually this was really necessary. So it's just something else to say to Legion, so they should know that. So yeah. But actually that's the only negative part about this entire mouse. Now, would I pay 65 euros? Yes. Would you pay 65 euros? Well, I have to say that's up to you. I checked the other mice that are out there on the market, and for RTS games specifically, and certainly for StarCraft II, which this mouse is perfect for. I've asked a friend who plays StarCraft, and I told him about the mouse, and he said, yeah, that sounds actually very great, all the options as well. But yeah, for StarCraft and other RTS games, there doesn't really seem to be a mouse within the same price range, only more expensive, that has kind of these functions. So actually this is a very good competitor on the market. But there are other mice out there. If you go for first-person shooters, there are a couple that you might say, and I think it wasn't Razer. Razer is way more expensive than what you get here, but the quality from Razer, I'm not really sure. I've had Razers before myself, and they always broke, and this one doesn't seem to break that easily. As I said, good build quality. But what I'm trying to say here is that, I'm thinking here, it was Corsair. There was a very good Corsair mouse out there, I'm not really sure which one, and that one really came close to this one, even with price and the functions, but that was actually the only one I saw. So yeah, I'm gonna conclude this here. I'm gonna give this the Awesome Award. Why the Awesome Award? It is obvious. Not the Brilliant Award, which I wanted to give it first, but because of the little button, the attack button, which was a very great idea, but just the fact that it wasn't worked out correctly with the Cherry Blue MX button. Okay, it was cool, but no, an on-run switch would have been better, in my opinion. That's why I do go for the Silver Awesome Award. Alright, and I think that's it. I hope you guys had enough information from this review. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video review, or video. Might be another mod vlog coming up very soon. And yeah, thanks to Legion for sponsoring us.